Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on A World Awakening. Deb DeRousse, my star sister, my sweet dear,
Hi, Andrea.
my beloved, is joining me for the evening. And, we're talking about the same thing, but different situations, but it's the same thing. So anybody that didn't have a chance to tap into the title or the description of tonight's show, I'll give you the heads up here. The title of our show tonight is What a Week I'm Having. And the description: who among us hasn't said some version of this famous line from the film Splash? All of us can relate to navigating the treacherous river of life, riddled with obstacles lurking beneath the surface. Another famous line: when you are going through hell, keep going. A unique human trait, our ability to demonstrate strength, courage, resilience, and perseverance during difficult times is an admirable attribute. But what choice do we have? We can crash on the rocks or sail on with determination. And should we get tossed overboard, we can always flip over and float, allowing the current to carry us as we recover. Deb DeRousse joins me for an inspirational hour of revelations about our latest week from hell.
Amen, sister.
Yeah.
I keep hearing Dory in my head from Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Just keep swimming.
Swimming. Just keep swimming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Feel those the shark's teeth, nipping at your tail. Yeah. So I wanted to apologize to our viewers of this, just devoted viewers of this show, week in and week out. And we had the show scheduled last week. And all of this. I keep you completely abreast, so to speak, of the situation, my ongoing situation. And I had, not this past Monday, but the previous Monday, I had been scheduled for a PET scan, which I have every 3 months to chart my progress. And for the first 11 months since my diagnosis, I had done remarkably well, and the tumors were shrinking. Some completely disappeared. But Christine had some very important business to attend to that morning. So, all brave, I said, I'll just go by myself. It's fine. Well, it was the first time and only time that I had ever gone to the hospital complex on my own. Not like I knew how to get there. That wasn't an issue. Where to park, where to go. I knew all of that. So, what did I have to be afraid of? And yet when I walked into that building and I didn't have my sister beside me, I suddenly felt awash with vulnerability. Oh, just like wow. I felt forsaken. I felt alone in the midst of dozens and dozens of people all around me. And I went into the room. The tech took me in and they gave me the infusion of the radioactive waste that they can scan me with because it's supposed to light up if there's any new growth in the tumors. It lights up on the PET scan, and it's called Shine. And, so I'm there, shine on, harvest moon, shine. I'm like trying to be just uplift myself, not feel so alone. And I went into the room and they gave me the infusion, and then they covered me in warm blankets and reclined my chair and left me there alone for 45 minutes, which is standard procedure, so that it can work its way all through my body. And I broke down and I sobbed like a baby. I was so grateful that there was a full box of tissues in that room. And there was a button for me to push if I needed help, but I needed to just cry for the first time since my diagnosis, that I just wept, and I didn't know why. But everything went fine. The scan went fine. I came home and was exhausted. So I laid down and I took a nap. And that Wednesday morning, Christine and I went into the hospital to my oncologist's office. And when she walked into the room, she wasn't smiling the way she would normally smile. And we were, I got up, I embraced her, and she said, "Okay, I need you to have a seat. We have to talk." And I was like, I don't like the sound of that. And that's when she informed me that the cancer had begun to return with a vengeance and that it was fighting back. And that we were going to have to immediately change my chemotherapy to another therapy. Christine was devastated. She didn't say a word. I heard her gasp sitting beside me, and she didn't say a word. And Dr. Knight told me the bad news. And then she told me the good news. And that is, after more than 11 months of making absolutely remarkable progress on my original chemotherapy, it had suddenly stopped working. And she told me that 1 year to the day prior to my visit on Wednesday, a drug had been approved by the FDA that targets a specific marker, cancer marker, that had been discovered in my blood. Never once in all the blood tests and all the genetic tests and everything that I've been through, never once had a marker for cancer emerged anywhere. Like I didn't have the disease, like it was somehow a figment of my imagination. There was no physiological marker in my body to identify cancer. And now suddenly there was. And there was a drug that would attack it, target it. And the way she put it was, we've been riding blind on a road, a long road, just hoping for the best. And we got, some great success out of the original drug. But now we have a detour sign for a path. And it's the road less traveled. It's a very specific immunotherapy coupled with chemotherapy. And it targets this particular really unusual type of cancer specifically. And it suffocates it. It does not allow it to reproduce. It can't make the babies. So everything has a natural life cycle. And if it cannot reproduce itself, then the cells will just naturally run their cycle and die without recreating themselves in another more expansive form by multiplying. And so she explained all of this to us. And meanwhile, Christine's, just sitting there like, looking at all the paperwork and everything, and just like, she shows me the name of the drug, which is literally unpronounceable. And I said, well, I just looked at her and I said, so what you're telling me is that this is a blessing in disguise, and this marker emerging in my bloodline is now a gift and an act of divine intervention. And she said, yes, I would prefer to think of it that way too. And she looked at me and she said, miracles happen every day. Every day. And I said, yep, I know it. So when do we start? And she's like, we start today. And so I had to go down to the infusion center, and I got my pill form, the pill form of the medication, and then I had to go to the infusion center. And so we were there for about 4 hours total. And Chris was very, very quiet on the way home. And I said, I know this seems like very, very bad news, but it's actually really good news. You just have to, just look at it from this perspective instead of hearing the cancer has returned. Here's how we're going to kill it. And the other drug couldn't do that. And this one can. And I'm tolerating it remarkably well. And I had to go back to the hospital today, this morning, after doing coast to coast from 3 to 5 a.m. I slept for an hour and a half, got up, took a shower, got in the car, and drove down to the hospital to do it all over again. And, and I feel my spirit is lifted, and I feel more hopeful than I have in a long time. But long story short, this is my apology for why we suddenly did not do our shows that were scheduled for and we canceled them suddenly because Bill said, nope, you need to rest. No, you need to rest. And so we'll do reruns. I'll go see Superman, and you take it easy, and we'll come together next week. And in the interim, you had a situation which in a way mirrored my own. There was a crisis that you were facing, and we haven't been able to be in touch much because your attention has been fully focused, as it should be, on your husband. But you at least were kind enough to put something out on Facebook so that people knew what was going on. And I couldn't find the words yet. I mean, I had to process this sudden change in direction. So we've been in touch a little bit, but, why don't you share your week from hell now that I've shared my week from hell? And it helps people to know. It helps people to know that we're all going through something, all of us.
Yeah. Well, it's actually been 2 weeks from hell because I can tell you when I got your news, you let me know immediately.
I did.
I told Bill, I'm not dealing with this well. It rocked my world. I was terribly upset. I sobbed. I just prayed. I went right to my knees because, damn it, I'm not going to lose you. This world needs you. And then after about a day, 2 days of doing this, I started getting, she's going to pull through this. Keep the faith, because I'm always the one to say, stay positive, no negative thoughts.
Yeah.
But I love you so deeply.
And I love you so deeply.
We're one. We're so, that connection is so very strong. So my real turning point was when you called, because I think you just sensed that Deb has to hear my voice. And we were able to talk about it. Thank you for doing that. I love you. I am now totally 1,000% positive that you're not going anywhere.
I'm not.
This earth needs you. It really needs you.
And you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. But I do want to put out there, speaking of Facebook, that Tom Owen, bless his heart, he's such a wonderful, wonderful man.
Wonderful man.
Has started a group called Andrea's Angels. And, everybody can join this and get in on the healing. There's a healing for you tomorrow evening, although I know that Tom and myself and many of us are sending at least once, twice, 3 times a day. Yes. So we do invite everybody to get in on that, because the collective
It's powerful.
So, so powerful.
Yeah.
You know, you've heard about the power of prayer forever. And this is the same thing. It's when you get that many souls and minds focused on one positive thing, that's what you bring to light. You know, thoughts are things. How often do we say that?
Yes.
And when you get the collective doing it, all in a positive way, Andrea's not going anywhere. So everybody look that group up and become a part of it. And please continue sending love, healing, and positive thoughts to Andrea.
And so, to you and RJ.
Thank you. Thank you. And now that being said, RJ and I have had a very busy year and had decided we need a break. We've worked so hard. There's been so many things going on. We need a together break. So we had been planning this past Sunday to head to the UP to our favorite resort up there in Curtis, where we had our mystical weekend. And we were going to take 3 or 4 days and just relax. Sit by the water.
Session, yep.
Yep. Walk in the woods, get our nature fix, and just be together. Well, about 5, it first started with him tearing his rotator cuff while he was working out, lifting weights, and so he was in pain. The day after doing that, he had a tooth that went bad. He had to go have that pulled. And then I started noticing he just wasn't the same. I could see some poofiness, things like that. Well, we continued preparing for our week away, and we were planning on leaving Sunday morning. But Sunday morning, he got up and said, "I can't breathe." So, being the hemorrhoid that I am, drives him crazy. I grabbed the pulse ox and the blood pressure cuff and everything because I know his heart history. And I said, "We're not going to the UP yet. You need to go to the hospital." I could see that he was in severe AFib and could tell that he had congestive heart failure going on. So he argued with me.
Of course he did.
Said, "No, we have our trip planned. The car is half packed, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah, because, God forbid you should save his life,
Exactly. And, you have to be respectful to the owner of the cabins. We have a reservation. You can't just not go. Because he really wanted to go. I really wanted to go. So, long story short, I called 911, got him to the hospital. Thank God, because he would not have survived that day.
Right.
Had we not gone.
Yeah.
So from Sunday until Wednesday, he was in the hospital in critical care unit. He was in pretty rough shape. But between Sunday and today, when we saw the cardiologist, they had pulled off 30 pounds of fluid in his body. So
he was drowning.
He was drowning. Absolutely. He was a mess. So he's still in rough shape, but he is home. We spent hours with the cardiologist today. We have a plan. We're trying to get his heart stronger at the moment. And one step at a time. So in about 3 weeks or so, they're going to shock his heart and try to get back into rhythm.
Good.
So until then, if people could just send some love and healing his way, I would be so very grateful. Everybody loves the wizard.
Yeah.
And like you, we need to keep him around.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's been, but it's not only us. I mean, look around. Look at Texas. Oh my gosh. what they have been through. I feel guilty even complaining about anything.
Well, Jeff and I just finished Soul School a few minutes ago, and this is what we talked about was letting our vulnerabilities be exposed and revealed, not just to ourselves, but to others, to, bearing our soul, that it is actually a purification. It is a cleansing. And it also liberates others to have conversations like we are having. This is what happened to me. This is what's happening with you and RJ. There is something healing about the energy that we expend so much energy internalizing and trying to sequester our vulnerability, and to be strong and to be the picture of grace in a crisis, and to rise above it and fly above the radar, and always be the picture of decorum and keep our shit together. And that's not really what it's about at all. The important thing is that we love and trust each other as beings enough that we can share what we feel and what we fear, and that monster in the water that's lurking just below the surface. It's just like right there, it's right there. And I've lectured so many times about the notion of the river of life, and it has a crazy current.
Yeah.
And if you happen to fall overboard, you can flip over and float. And, that's where I am now. I got thrown overboard when I got my test results. I was also given a lifeline. And now RJ has been given a lifeline by removing that excess fluid from his body around his heart, his lungs. It saved him.
Yeah.
It saved him. You saved him. And, there's a beautiful song called Rescue about sending out an SOS. I will send out an army. I wish I could sing it, but I'm too choked up to do that. And we can't play it because then YouTube will, fire us. I don't know.
Right.
I don't have my ASCAP license. Sorry. But it's called Rescue. You can just Google it and listen to it. And it's what we do for each other. And, the main line is, I will rescue you. And that's what we do for each other. Mm-hmm. That's what love does. And that's a whole part of, and I think a critically important part, what taps into this broadcast, a world awakening. When we awaken to our realization of oneness and our interconnectedness, then it's not scary to be vulnerable. It's not scary to expose the deep inner workings of the shadow that lurks in your soul, and let that out, release it, and you will realize that it's fear. And when you acknowledge it and embrace it and love it for the times that it has helped you, and then release it, and as I told Jeff, and then identify the bully in the classroom and expel it from Soul School, then there's healing involved with that process.
Right.
It is a part of our spiritual ascension, I believe, in understanding that we are one. We are all unique, and yet we are all the same.
Absolutely.
It's an interesting dichotomy. It's an interesting thing about being human, is that, the old phrase, well, we all cry tears, we all bleed red, and that is true. And once we no longer feel isolated in our pain and in our worry, in whatever we're facing, and come to the understanding that we don't need to face it alone, then it is liberating. And that liberation to share and love each other well is so much a part of our healing. And the thing that's so ironic about it was I had to face this crisis in order to find the shortcut, off the well-beaten path where we didn't know where we were going because we didn't have a sign to follow. And now we do. And that wouldn't have happened if they didn't detect a shine on the tumors of the cancer making a resurgence.
Right.
You had to get the bad news to get the good news. And it's, you had to, RJ had to get the bad news that vacation canceled, off to the hospital, and that saved his life.
Yeah. Yep. And with that, it saved my life.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And without you finding the marker, had you just continued with the chemo you were on, once you called me and explained, okay, here's the positive.
Yeah. That silver
now we have a marker. Now we know.
Every dark cloud.
Yes. Yes. So, we all have to remember and hold on to that. There is always some good that comes out of things. We just have to find it. And, it's okay to cry those tears, and it's okay to fall apart. That's why we're here, to share this, to, we can all suffer in silence, or we can ease it by doing it together.
Right.
Things are not all that easy right now.
No, I know.
Saying the least, right? But together we've got this.
Yeah.
We've got all of it. And,
seeing the wagons. Yeah.
Yeah. Seeing people come together and stand up like Tom, who started that group, and starting healing, and all of the things that, one crisis can bring so many people together.
Yeah.
It really can.
Yeah.
The Twin Towers, think back to that, when that happened, and how everybody band together.
Yes.
And in pure love.
Yes.
Saying no matter what, we're together, we have this. So, hopefully we're shedding that light on people who are kind of suffering alone right now.
Yes, and suffering in silence. Far too many suffering in silence.
Yeah.
And it's important that we be here as, we awaken to our purpose, our mission in this world, which is to love each other powerfully. And during Soul School, I read this brief little message somebody had written to me today, wanting to, asking me a question about spiritual ascension. And this is how, and what that meant to me. And this is what I responded in my text to him. I think we spiritually ascend when we realize that each and every one of us is a church, a place of worship, once we learn to open the door within our soul. It's all within us. We are, each and every one of us, capable of healing, because we are, each and every one of us, a divine manifestation of the God consciousness, the prime creator. We are all part and parcel of the one. And that's empowering, to understand that you are not a subject of anything. You're not, there's not a king and you're just a feudal subject. We're all together in this. And it is that singular concept that holds within it the seed to the cure of all the discontent in the world. So there are those among us who spread that word very effectively. And I sent you a thing a few weeks ago from a physicist who's also a philosopher, Dr. Hawkins, I believe his name. Excuse me, honey.
That's okay. Yes, I remember that. But not Stephen Hawkins.
Yes.
I don't remember. I was trying to remember.
No, not Stephen Hawking. I think it was David Hawkins. Okay. And in his research, what he has determined, and he's done this, with mathematical equations and, studying kinetic energy and, that type of thing. He's a physicist. And he said that he has determined that one individual emanating a higher frequency of love and light counteracts the negative emotions of 175,000 people.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible?
Even if that number in actuality is half, 10%, even if that's, then the antidote is love. The antidote to all that ails us is love. On Buttercup, I've got my little banner on the top that says, I did not come to teach you. I came to love you. Love will teach you. I will never part with that. I have assimilated. I don't know who wrote it. I just stole it off the internet the instant it spoke to me. The instant I saw it years and years ago, I was like, I'm going to take that and use it, because it spoke to what I feel is, the embodiment of my soul on this plane of action, that I am here to express love in every conceivable way that I can, to spread that as far and wide as I am able, which is why I'm so grateful to Bill, and I'm so grateful to KGRA for giving me this global forum so that those that need us find us.
Right.
And it burgeons and it grows and it grows, and the message spreads like the proverbial pebble in the middle of a pond, and the concentric circles keep going and going and going, because it has created a center of energy that spreads equidistantly across the body of water. And even when you don't see the ripples anymore, that energy is still in motion and spreading and spreading. And that, my friends, my dear friends, is our world awakening to our own divine being, to our own consciousness, to our own ability to comprehend the notion that we are part of a sacred whole. And once we know that, it liberates us, it empowers us, and it gives us an ability to heal others that we touch with that higher frequency.
Yes, absolutely. Beautifully said.
Thank you.
I love that. And love is always, always the answer.
Always.
And that's what we're here for. Like you said, Andrea, we're here to remember, because we are soul. Our physical bodies are very individual. Our soul bodies are one.
Yeah.
And we're here to remember who we are, who we're connected to,
where we come from, and how ancient we are.
Absolutely. And that we are connected, and
Yes.
love is the answer.
Yeah.
Always.
To
Love is
every
the answer.
question. And that in its own, as simple as it sounds, that is a truly sacred realization. That is, it's really that simple.
Yeah.
Love each other. You know, the golden rule, do unto others as you would have others do unto you. It is that simple. We're the ones that complicate everything.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, tend to let our emotions run amok and, you know, fight over stupid stuff and alienate each other from, you know, it. And it doesn't need to be that way. No. It doesn't need to be that way. And intrinsic in this conversion of faith and knowing who we are and why we're here involves the revelation of forgiveness and reverence and respect for all other beings. Always.
Except we're not separate from any of those beings.
No. We are a divine tapestry.
Absolutely.
Interwoven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Threads
Absolutely.
and lights and sparks of light. Threads.
Yep.
Interwoven into one beautiful piece of art.
I love that. I love it. So well said. So well said.
Oh, I'm sure I stole that from somebody.
Well, I still love it. And it's so accurate. And if you think about it, you know, we have the physical human self with the ego. That's where we screw up.
Oh, yeah.
Is we let
that's like a brick wall. Yep, it sure is.
Yeah. Tell ourselves that, you know, some are better than others and all of that. But that's all the physical self, where the soul self is totally different. Mm-hmm. But if the soul self doesn't teach the physical self, we have problems.
Yes.
And that's why humans need human contact.
Yeah.
You know, a baby who has failure to thrive will literally die without human contact.
Human contact, yes.
Yes, they have to have that touch.
Yeah.
They have to. We all have to. That's why we hug. That's why we hold hands. That's why we kiss.
That's right. And that's also why, you know, one of our lessons in this life, this round, was COVID. And the only way that you could actually express your love and affection and tenderness for another human being was to stay the hell away from them.
Yep.
And I mean, it was such a difficult couple of years where we were forced to isolate from each other. And I always say, thank God the internet didn't explode when that was the only way we could be together safely.
Yeah.
No, and I didn't know it at the time, but I already had cancer. My doctor told me that based on how advanced this cancer was upon detection, that I had probably been carrying it in my body for 4 years or more. And I just didn't know it. And it's like, you know, the story of the bumblebee. Anybody familiar with physics knows that a bumblebee is too fat and too heavy, and its wings are too fragile for it to be able to lift its body and fly. But it doesn't know it can't fly. So it flies anyway.
I love that. I had not heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well.
They defy the laws of physics.
Yeah. And so can we.
And so can we.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, astral travel, things like that.
Oh, I have out-of-body experiences so regularly. It's like I'm only visiting when I'm actually here. I know.
Yeah. I'm curious how many people, I know when I was young, I knew I could fly, and I did often. Didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I
You'd lay
flew
in
down
bed and
like
you could just,
16 stairs when I was 5 years old because I was absolutely sure that if I just launched myself off those stairs, that I would land on my feet at the bottom. I'm really lucky I survived that. My mother.
you are very lucky. I didn't try it. I didn't try it physically,
No, I did.
but I could push my soul out.
Which, shows a decided lack of wisdom, from an early age. But
you're so rebellious.
I know. Because I had a dream that I was a bird. I mean, it was so vivid. It was so real. And I was a huge raven with a long, black, shiny beak. And I could see my wings extended on, and I was just a little child. And I was given this gift of, I don't think it was a dream. It was something more important than that. And I flew all over around the world, and I was just a baby, 5 years old. And I flew all around. I saw the redwood forest in its original, before we cut a tree down. I went back in time and I saw the world as it was, not as it was when I was that age, but as it was 1,000 years before. But then, with having that experience at such a young age and it becoming integral to who I was, I mean, I can still close my eyes and like it's just happening again. It left an imprint on me that was permanent. And so after that happened, I was sure that I had now developed the ability to fly. Because I wasn't, rational yet. I had not reached the age of consciousness yet. And my mother told me that I wasn't allowed to fly until I was older. That's how she handled it. So it was dangerous. I couldn't fly until I was older. I can
fly when you're in physical.
Yeah.
But you can still fly.
Yeah.
And you did.
Yeah.
You did. See, when we're little, we have that knowing and we just do it. We think it's dreams.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't remember even trying to figure it out. I just knew that I could fly places and see things.
Yeah.
And it worked.
I know.
But I did, I've always been afraid of heights. So I think a past life took care of me trying to do it physically.
Oh, perhaps. Yeah.
So I didn't hurt myself trying to fly. I only did it with my consciousness.
Well, little kids are they're like Play-Doh. We bounce, little kids generally do bounce.
Right. They're softer.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's very true. And I did want to bring up the fact that I believe it started yesterday. We are in Mercury retrograde.
I know. I've meant to use my cup. Sorry, I can't. Mercury is retrograde. I usually have it with coffee, but I'm not allowed to. The next time you see me, I am going to be significantly smaller because this particular chemo elevates blood sugar. So I'm having to cut carbohydrates out of my diet, which is like, let me just open a vein. What do you mean I can't eat half a bag of chocolates while I'm watching TV? But
with half a bag of potato chips.
Yeah, now I can't have those well together. I know they do. Salt and sweet, absolutely perfect combination. So yeah, now it's I'm basically going to need to do the Atkins diet. The last time I felt a little fat and fluffy, and I did the Atkins diet, which I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years ago. And then I just stopped caring. but I lost 30 pounds in 30 days. And so I have to mitigate that. And my doctor said, now don't go overboard, because I told her that's how my body responds to removing carbohydrates from my system. And she's like, all we need to do is make sure that we keep your blood sugar at a certain level, and not let the chemo elevate it beyond a certain point, which is why I have to have much more regular blood work. With the vampire in the lab coat and blood-sucking vampire.
Right.
I saw her this morning, Carla. She's wonderful, my triage nurse. And, it's okay. It is. I mean, I am literally transforming physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, cleansing and releasing whatever is toxic in my body.
Good.
And that is inspirational.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it is.
Clean the temple.
Yeah, clean the temple.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I wanted to bring up the retrograde because, people kind of freak out with that.
Yeah.
We do have to, I just want to add a little positive to it.
Mm-hmm.
That it's really, it's not a good time to make big decisions or sign legal documents, things like that. But it's really a good time to cleanse the temple.
Yeah.
To meditate, to reflect. Take this time to take care of yourself. Make a plan for maybe a diet, something healthy for you. Find the silver lining in this retrograde, because I see retrograde usually as a good thing.
I do too.
I love the time to reflect, time to rest, time to meditate. Everybody knows I love to meditate. So, try it. Just try it. I dare everybody to try it.
Yeah.
And so, this might be why these things happened with you, with RJ, with so many people right now, when it did.
Yeah.
So we can go into, and I think this is a long one, isn't it?
It is.
Way into August or something.
Unusual, yeah.
Yeah, or September, I don't know. Somebody out there probably knows. But it's a long one, so maybe that's why it happened when it did.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to check that out. But I know my trajectory now, and you know yours, and RJ knows his.
Yeah.
And together, and anyone out there that feels alone, isolated, that feels the need to reach out, come to Tom Owen's spot, and we'll be together there. And we will pray for each other there, and we will heal each other, and we will gather together in moments of sublime wonder, and we will practice the presence, and we will be still in our souls and open those doors to the deepest, most wondrous part of who we are, and experience, perhaps for the first time, experience our own essence. And it is divine, and it is sacred, and miracles happen every day. We're just too busy to pay attention and to notice, but slow down enough and breathe and notice the beauty around you and the love that surrounds you, and feel the presence of your ancestors, and feel the presence of legions of angels, and feel your source, and feel the energy pulsing through your body, flowing through your veins. And we will be each for each other, a beacon in the night. And so it is.
And so it is. Wow, that was fantastic, Andrea. I'm fighting going into a meditative state right now. Your words and your tone just really came over me.
Ah,
That was beautiful. I hope everybody else is feeling that, the energy, the power, and the love behind what's happening here tonight with our connection.
yes.
And knowing that when we connect, we know we connect with everybody, all beings, and we truly are. I mean, if you send healing to Andrea, you're sending healing to
Everybody.
You're sending that love to everybody.
And be open to receiving, not just giving, but be open to receiving.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is so integral to this process of this swirling energy that we are each a part of.
Yeah.
And so we shall gather together, birds of a feather, and we will fly. We will fly.
Let's fly together.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you for joining me tonight. I feel like this was not only selfishly, this was really important for both of us, but
yes.
I hope it touched the hearts and minds of many more, because in times of high stress and anxiety, particularly, and feeling a little unstable, this is a grounding that we did tonight.
Yeah.
And take your shoes off, walk in the wet grass, feel the dew settling between your toes, and look up. Look up. Thank you all for joining us tonight, my darlings. We love you all. And we will close with our mantra: be the beacon of hope. Light the way for others. Illuminate the path. Be the change you wish to see in the world. And always strive to be the light you seek. Good night.